Da Costa, personal best in Sector 1, personal best in Sector 2. 9th quickest currently, needs to be inside the top 4 to go forwards and into the duels. He's been fastest in FP1, fastest in FP2. Can he get himself up there? No, he misses out by 8/100ths of a second.
Oliver Rowland is on the cusp at the moment in 4th, and he pops up ahead of Hughes into 3rd. Watch Dennis, though. He's up the line. He goes 2nd and knocks Jake Hughes out.
Gunther, Dennis, Cassidy and Rowland will go forwards into the duels. Bit of dust being kicked up there from Beckman, who goes through into 4th place. What a surprise there for the German driver. De Grassi also looking pretty handy here then as well, as he comes to take the checkered flag, but loses time in the final sector, as we've seen so many drivers do. What about Verne? Also kicking up dust wide out of the final corner, loses time and doesn't manage to improve on 5th quickest. Taylor Barnard, though, does manage to get through for Neon McLaren ahead of Nick de Vries, Pascal Wehrlein, and the surprise being David Beckman. So Nick Cassidy versus Jake Dennis up first of all, then Oliver Rowland, championship leader, versus Maximilian Gunther, Pascal Wehrlein versus Nick de Vries, and David Beckman, the surprise of the show so far in the Cupra Kiro. He'll be going head-to-head with Taylor Barnard. Nick Cassidy and Jake Dennis out on track then here for the first of the dual stages.
I think Dennis has an opportunity here in the final chicane if he gets a good run.
Well, 188 is on par with the pace we saw in practice 2 this morning, so let's see what Dennis can do, though. He's been catching in the middle sector. Can he catch up enough, though, in the final sector as he comes to the timing line then? Jake Dennis, no, he can't. Nick Cassidy will go through. Quarterfinal 2, Oliver Rowland versus Maximilian Gunther.
I thought this would be a closer one due to Gunther's performance on the
coming.
circuit.
Yeah, Rowland was a bit sideways and a bit wide there through turn 8, and I wonder if that might have just cost him a bit of time. Gunther's starting to pick up some time here in this middle sector. Over the curves we go then for Oliver Rowland, and the advantage has swung back in the favour of Maximilian Gunther. Rowland across the line, a 1:08.9, so not the fastest time that we've seen so far. Can Max Gunther out-qualify the championship leader and knock him out of the quarterfinals? Across the timing line we go, and he does. Max Gunther, by nearly 0.3 of a second, is faster. Quarterfinal 4, David Beckman versus Taylor Barnard. Advantage Taylor Barnard in Sector 1 so far then here with the Neon McLaren.
Oh, he's gone deep, though. He's gone quite deep down at turn 6. That, we'll have a look at the time, whether that has cost him. As we see Beckman a bit deep at turn 8.
So Beckman, a 1:09.2, not the quickest time we've seen by any stretch of the imagination, and Barnard out-qualifies him by 0.4 of a second. In the semi-finals, in a few moments' time, it'll be Cassidy versus Gunther and Barnard versus Pascal Wehrlein. So semi-final 1 then, Nick Cassidy versus Maximilian Gunther. Cassidy comes to the timing line as he kicks up a bit of dust. A 1:08.779 is a good lap time, not the fastest we've seen so far in the semi-finals. We come through, though, and into the final sector for Maximilian Gunther. Out of the final corner, across the timing line we go, and this is surely going to be quicker. It is, by nearly 0.3 of a second. Gunther through and into the finals for DS Penske.
It's Taylor Barnard versus Pascal Wehrlein.
Let's see what it looks like.
Quick.
Yeah, as he comes across the line, a 1:08.5. That is the quickest time that we have seen in the dual stage of qualifying. What is the response going to be from the reigning world champion into the final 3 corners of this lap? Over the curbs comes Wehrlein. It's not been a bad lap time for him, but I don't think it's going to be enough to outclass Taylor Barnard, and it isn't. So Barnard goes through with the quickest lap time. The upshot is, it is Neon McLaren versus DS Penske in the finals in the fight for pole position. Taylor Barnard versus Maximilian Gunther. Down into turn 1 for the young Briton. Looks nice and neat and tidy through there so far. And again, not too much of a fight through turns 2 and into turn 3.
That was lovely. Really nicely got hooked up into both the apex of 2 and 3 there. So he's on and away, but Gunther's just starting up his lap as well.
Ooh, Gunther was strong.
Yeah, initial advantage for Gunther in the first sort of mini sector. We'll get an eye on what it looks like when he comes out of turn 4. That's where the first beam will be broken between Barnard and Gunther with nearly 2 tenths in his pocket.
Yeah, maybe he underdrove it, Barnard, in the first sector.
He's gone wide.
He's trying to recover now.
Yeah, he's had a slide under it at 7. That's put him out wide. Gunter's coming up to that same part of the track. The tyres, of course, have done more running now, so the tyres aren't as fresh as they were earlier. The drivers have to compensate. He's gone deep there as well as Lee. This is looking like a messy lap here for Taylor Barnard.
Yeah, a little bit scrappy as he kicks up a bit of dust and comes across the timing line of 1:08.621. So not the quickest time that we've seen from Taylor Barnard. Now, just 3 more corners to go for Maximilian Gunter. He took pole position in Jeddah through the final 2 corners, over the curbs, nice and neat and tidy, nearly 2/10 in his pocket. He comes to the timing line, and Maximilian Gunter does out-qualify Taylor Barnard to take pole position for DS Penske here in China, to the delight of Phil Charles and the team.